Okay, I do want to say this now because I feel like someone else is gonna run into this, and I just want you to like have words, put words to the experience. So sometimes a system is broken, right? Like, and I've seen this so many times. Like, I've been on so many teams where like things are broken. It's actually like the normal state of things. Like, you don't have enough staff, you don't have enough resources, you don't have enough money, all these things. Like, there's a million reasons why stuff is broken, and then like someone has to be at fault, right? So it's like the reason this thing isn't working is because of you. Like, you are actually the person who's the problem. If it wasn't for you, everything would just magically go back to being great. Most of the time, that's not the issue. Most of the time, there's like all these other things that are in place that are making it so that like the thing isn't working and the thing is bad. And I want to like put words to that because typically there has to be some person at fault. Like, personally, I'm the type of leader who likes to talk through the mess. Like, I don't sit and hide the mess from people to make them feel better, to make them feel like I know what's going on. Instead, I like to talk about like, here's the problem that I see, here's the way that I see the problem, and here's the things that I don't know about the problem. And I try actively to bring this to people who have like more information or more solutions to say like, okay, like here's how we can like solve this problem. Instead, I feel like a lot of other people like to do things the other way. Okay, so and I feel like this is actually a really big problem in America where very, very quickly things are turning up on their head because there's a lot of people in power who are saying, they're pointing fingers. They're like, John is the person who's the problem. And John is over there in some position trying to fix the problem, right? But he's doing the best that he can. But the fact is, like, sometimes he just doesn't have the resources, he doesn't have the time, he doesn't have the information to, like, solve all of the problem. So, in reality, like, every single person can be rehabilitated and can be, like, shown the answer in terms of, like, fixing the issue and getting to the solution. But for some reason, society has this thing where they're like, well, if you make this mistake, this particular mistake is the one that crosses the line. And because we all know that you made this mistake, you're out, you're the bad person, blah, 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 blah. The reality is, like, the system in itself, the infrastructure is broken. So I feel like this is the part where people, a lot of people are talking about politics right now, right? Like, oh, okay, the election's coming up, and all of a sudden, like, Republicans are going to be in power. This is true. There's a lot of reasons that Republicans can be in power because Republicans stand for a lot of conservative values that many, 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 many Americans stand for. Many, like the whole country, basically. And so to have so many like radical Democrats in power is confusing. There's also, and I actually don't know why people are considering like specifically like Black American racial issues liberal. Like, I don't think that those are liberal issues. The issues that are facing Black, that were facing Black, and were and are facing Black Americans specifically, are civil rights issues that have to do with civil systemic oppression. They haven't, like, no other group has ever faced this. It's like specific to Black Americans. And all of the work that has been done in terms of civil rights has allowed other groups that are considered like minorities or like non-white or marginalized or whatever. They have like Black Americans started from all the way back here, right? And then they did all this work to get up here. And when they got up here, they opened the floodgates for everybody. And now everybody else is starting from right here and they're all going this way. So they've never had to see these problems that all of the Black Americans have faced and have never really solved. Like, they've never gotten any reparations for it, any restitution for it, any really constitutional law that protects that particular group. Like, that's never happened. It's just opened the floodgates to say, well, we're defining humanity from now, but fuck everything that happened yesterday. And then it's so weird because everyone else, especially conservatives, they love saying, well, look at the history here. Well, look at the history is so important. The history, right? But the history doesn't matter if it's a Black American. It only matters if it's like anyone else. Like, That is very confusing. But I'm trying to come in to say this. Like, sometimes it gets really uncomfortable to look at the problem as to what it is and then say, like, hey, here's the issue. Let's try to unpack the issue. Instead, we're going to say, okay, here's how we solve the issue. We're going to just, like, the person is the problem. Oh, the person is the problem. And it's like, in reality, like, it's never really like one person who has power over an entire situation. Like, the situation is contextual, right? Like, if staffing is an issue, like for instance with Twitter, let's just look at Twitter specifically. So the reason that Elon Musk is firing so many people is because they're disposable. If those people were actually doing a job that he needed them to do, and he would continue to pay them and be like, I need you to do, like, the whole idea of meritocracy is like, everyone is super skilled and like knows how to do this thing, and that's why we need them in there doing this thing and solving this problem, because if they weren't in there solving this problem, then like the problem wouldn't get solved. The reality is no problems are getting solved. This is why you have an entire generation quiet quitting. They're not working. Like, everyone is just like showing up and kind of being like, great, I'm here. Great, we're all here. We're here. Let me go have a macchiato, a latte. Let me go have another meeting about nothing. Let me go, like, you know what I mean? Like, everyone's having all these meetings and nothing is getting solved. This is why it's not surprising that all the tech companies are like laying off people. Like, these are disposable employees. Like, they don't know how to do anything. Literally nothing. You don't need a whole $100,000 a year employee to fucking change the color on a button. And that's what's happening at Google. Like, Google has a lot of software engineers whose whole job it is to like fix one line of HTML code to change a button from blue to purple. When I learned that, I was like, first of all, web development is not for me, but also I think software engineering is kind of a joke. Like, it's kind of a joke. Like, I'm sorry. Like, come on. Like, you're making $120,000 a year and your whole job all day. And it's not even all day, all quarter. It's to fix the color of one button. Like, yeah, right, bro. So, yeah. I think that Elon Musk is about to show tech in general how to turn a company from in the red to in the green. But also, I just really think that for most people, you know, there's no point of trying to go into a career like tech. Like, maybe, like, I feel like if you are really invested in gaining a skill, and what I mean by invested is in, like, you're actually going to do some work. Like, you're actually going to learn how to you're going to, like, go to your course and like actually learn how to do something practical, like taking a Coursera certification and like learning how to do whatever the thing, and you're actually going to try to do that. If that's the case, I think that you can honestly make a difference in some company. If that is not the case, though, the reality is like, you're not. Like, you don't, like, most of the people who go to like college are not smart. Like, I'm sorry, like, they're just not. They just don't know how to, like, do anything. This is why Elon Musk can fire all of them. And the tech in general, I think it's having, like, massive layoffs across the board. If you needed those people, they wouldn't be getting laid off. Like, they're not providing a service. Like, a part of capitalism is, like, providing money, and then money provides a service, and then like the service is rendered, and then like everyone can like get stuff from their money. But when people stop getting stuff from their money, that's when shit becomes a problem. But like, that's kind of where we are in society, where like some people are just getting a lot of money for having like prestige. So it's like, let me make sure I go to Cal. Let me make sure I go to Harvard. Let me make sure I go to Princeton. Not so that I can actually, like, do anything of significance, but just so I can, like, occupy a space and, like, say that, like, I did this thing and I have this credential and I took these classes and I wrote these papers that literally everyone else that I know wrote. I'm going to do this thing that everyone else that I know did. It's like, the thing is, like, every year when people are like, the Cal students are so great, there's a lot, like, comparatively, if 20,000 people every year are graduating with a UC Berkeley degree, it's not, I like, okay, maybe in the mass, in the world, like, in the globe, okay, so in terms of like global contribution, those people are really smart and can contribute to any aspect of society that they study. The problem is they're all trying to be like Google employees, and like Google's like one company providing like one service to the world, and like there's just only like really one or two people who need to do additional people each year, especially like new grads who need to contribute to those teams. But all of those other people need to go out into other spaces in society and occupy them. They need to go to the developing world. They need to go to like middle America. Like they need to like distribute this knowledge that they got in this one place to other parts of the world, because it's all this other parts of the knowledge. It's the like understanding how to balance time, understanding how to prioritize, understanding how to chat with different types of people, like understanding how to problem solve, understanding like all of these different things at one time. Like that is what is going to make them like successful, really, right? Like understanding all of these aspects is what's going to make them what is why they say like, oh, the UC Berkeley grads are the best, or the UC Davis grads are the best, or Harvard grads are the best. Like not every single Harvard grad is going to go on to be a president, but they can do other things in society that are like super worthwhile, that are really important, that like solving problems in the developing world are important too. Like solving problems in, man, like really any aspect of society, like solving a problem in any aspect of society is important. And I don't know if you can really sit here and say like one is more important than the other, because like I don't know, I don't really feel that way. I feel like there's a lot of problems and smart people could like set out and solve all of the problems. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know. I think that like yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess I feel like there's a lot of problems. And I feel like there's a lot of different ways to solve the problems. I feel like we do, as a society, need to get to a place where we are comfortable with the fact that not everyone solves problems the same way. And that you have to work with people who don't solve problems the same way as you, and that people have different like world ideologies than you, and you have to work with them. Like that's a real thing. Um, that's a real thing. Uh, yeah. The second one's a little hard because I feel like there are some people who have this belief like, oh, yeah, well, you know, because I don't like this person, I just don't have to like, they don't live in society or something. Like, it's like you could not like someone and that's true. Like, that can be extra true. And at the same time, like, they still live in society with you, and it is really important to still have like an amount of respect for them. I do think that doesn't, I don't think it necessarily means that you can't call them out. I don't know, maybe, I don't know, I feel like I've been on too many like teams that are like focused on, how do you say it, like the growth mindset, and so other parts of society just like aren't there. Like growth mindset is a very like California like tech thing, and everyone else doesn't understand that, and it's like, I'm sorry, at the same time, like it's very difficult because like the society in general doesn't know how to deal with tech bros who are like black women. Like if you're like, I probably in reality, like I'm probably a much more tech bro than I would like to admit, right? But like I'm not a white dude, and so like I don't know, it just doesn't fit. It's like even though all the tech bro aspects might apply to me, I'm not a white dude, so nobody knows how to respond. And I don't even like, it's very hard. It's a very weird space to sit in. At the same time, it is the space that I sit in. So like I'm like, I don't know. Like this is what it is. This is where I sit. I don't know. I guess it's just hard. And for on some parts, like I feel bad because like I don't want to be a role model for anybody. No lie, like I don't want to be a role model for anybody. Why? Because like I think that my story is way too like, it's just too full of trauma porn. And I don't want any, especially I don't want any black women to have trauma porn. Like I don't want you to have like any trauma at all. I want you to like have a therapist. Please get a therapist, please. And I want you to like understand that sometimes things that you don't really want to happen will happen, and you have to like move forward in your life even after those things that you don't really want to happen, because those things are a normal part of life, unfortunately. It is unfortunate though. It's unfortunate. It's insane. I feel like I shouldn't have learned a lot of these lessons by the age that I am. Like, I'm old, right? But I'm not like a senior citizen yet. And I've learned some senior citizen type lessons. Like, there's just too many aspects of like race, class, culture, city, politics, all the fucking things. And they always intersect with me. And it makes me upset because like I don't want to teach these lessons to anyone. Like I don't want to learn lessons about like Hitler's Holocaust and be like, well, let me teach this to the rest of the world. It's kind of like, bro, come on. Like this is not, nobody needs to learn these lessons. Like it's just, they're too brutal. Like it's too brutal. But at the same time, you'd have to like look out into the world as in terms of like what it is, right? Because like we aren't, the society is not in a good place. Society is not in a good place, and that's real. I don't know, whatever, bro. Maybe it's just me. I feel like maybe I'm like too chill or whatever to like take any responsibility too seriously, and I just am kind of like, I'm gonna just keep going until I hit a stop sign, I suppose. Maybe that's where I am in life. That's probably, yeah, no, that's probably what it is. In reality, I have just hit too many stop signs. And I feel like also I hit a very strange place, like in my own growth. I was going through this adolescent growth, like this young adult growth, and I just lacked all. I was in a space where there was no representation of black women at all. Like there were no black women, and when I looked around right and left, that were experiencing adulthood. Like none. And it was so strange because I was like trying to understand how to adult, and nobody at all was making any content that was like, here's kind of like how it's like, here's what a black woman out in the world is doing. Like, here's what a date or dinner looks like. Just nothing. Like, it was almost like there were like no regular black women in society. Like there was only like prostitutes and crackheads. Like that was it. There was nothing else. And it's just kind of like, that's just, reality is not like that at all, okay? Like, most of the women out in the world have, like, regular jobs, okay? And with their regular jobs, they have, like, drama in their family, like, drama with their coworkers, drama with the there's always some shit, right? In like some kind of way, like everybody's like figuring out a way to like continue moving forward. That's reality. And like let's normalize that. Like you are gonna have conflict in wherever you are, and you will keep going forward. And that's just real. That's how it is. So, okay.